It has to be like something ugly soiled something beautiful.
As the president acknowledged during his inaugural address on January 20th, he pledged to invoke this act, and he has no higher responsibility than to defend our country from threats and invasions. President Trump will continue his historic efforts to seal the border and prevent these illegal invaders from coming here in the first place. As the New York Times is acknowledged over the weekend, President Trump's policies are working. Here's how the Times summed it up. Illegal crossings at the U.S.-Mexico border are down to their lowest level in decades. Once crowded migrant shelters are empty. Instead of heading north, people stranded in Mexico are starting to return home in bigger numbers. The border is almost unrecognizable.
Any other New York Times headlines describing the effects of Trump's policies that you want to share with the class, or only this one? Immigration or crossings have been going down for a while. Towards the end of Biden's administration, they were really, really low.
From just a couple of years ago, when hundreds of thousands of people from around the world were crossing into the United States every month in scenes of chaos and upheaval. This is the Trump effect in action. And again, those are the words from the New York Times. We didn't need a border security bill. We just needed President Trump. All of these actions taken together are contributing to a wave of optimism about the direction of our great country. According to brand new polling from NBC News, more registered voters say the United States is heading in the right direction than at any point since early 2004.
This is not only a lie, I think this is like the exact opposite of the truth. Like an enormous number of people think we're on the wrong track, and Trump's approval ratings are... Okay, the reason it says Trump ties for highest approval rating he's ever had is because they're comparing it to his first term. And Trump's approval rating was higher at the beginning of his second term, and they've been going down. So basically, they started at 51 for his first term. They started at like 56 for this term, and they've gone down rapidly for this term. So basically, they're saying we've now reached the high point of the last administration. There's a reason they phrased it this way. Though even the way they phrased it is dishonest. But, I mean, not that it matters. You can just lie.
Americans support President Trump's common sense approach that's getting our country...
Also, I should note, by the way, that while what we're seeing right now is despicable, it is also despicable that the Democrats refuse to implement any of these popular strategies for promoting their message. The press secretary should not only be a person whose job it is to answer press questions, but also a person to tout the achievements of their administration. Obviously, in this case, the achievements are being Hitler. It's just crazy that Democrats never did this. Not that they would have much to brag about, I guess, but...
back on track in record time. Meanwhile, the president's critics can't say the same. That same new NBC poll also found that the Democrat Party has reached an all-time low in popularity. It turns out when you let your hatred of President Trump get in the way of doing what is best for America, the people reject you.
To put this to a point of comparison, it was Democratic policy to not even say Trump's name when they talked about the effects of the administration, even if they were asked directly about him. They would say the former president. It's just remarkable how, like, averse to conflict the Democrats are.
Who would have thought? Joining us today in our new media seat is Kelly Meyer. She is a White House correspondent with News Nation. News Nation started in 2021 and is one of America's fastest growing cable news networks with a focus on news for all of America. It's part of a larger ecosystem,
2021,
Nexstar, which is home to News Nation, the political website The Hill, the broadcast network The CW, and local Nexstar stations. With that, kick us off, please, Kelly.
Thank you, Caroline. What do you say to Americans who want safe streets but are concerned due process is being violated?
The president is using every lever of his executive authority and his constitutional authority within the bounds of the immigration laws of our country to ensure that our streets are safer for law-abiding American citizens. And this administration is focused on detaining, arresting, and deporting illegal criminal aliens. And as you saw this past weekend, the president used his authority under the Alien Enemies Act to deport foreign terrorists. Tren de Aragua is now a designated foreign terrorist organization.
It really makes you wonder why they never got rid of the Alien Enemies Act, which is like an insane act to have still on the books in the United States.
And as I said, there were nearly 200 Tren de Aragua members who were sent to El Salvador this weekend.
Again, really important. They suspended habeas corpus. If these people were actually members of Tren de Aragua, then the administration would legally be able to deport them anyway. You can do that. If you have members of a foreign terrorist organization in your country that you've already arrested for being undocumented, you can already deport. You don't need the Alien Enemies Act. The reason they invoked the Alien Enemies Act is so they wouldn't have to prove it in court. They could suspend habeas corpus.
Countless lives will be saved because of this action. And if you talk to the families, the Angel families, as I mentioned, Laken Riley and Jocelyn Nungray, they understand the grave cost of life at the hands of these illegal terrorists. And the president is proud to deliver on that promise for them.
And just to follow up on that, this will be challenged later today in the courts. Does the president, does this allow him to defy the court order without having this the checks and balances and the separation of power?
No. In fact, this administration acted within the confines of the law, again, within the president's constitutional authority. And
remember, they were deported in violation of a judge's order that they not be deported. And when the judge ordered the planes carrying them to El Salvador be turned around, Bukele, the president of El Salvador, quote tweeted it saying, "Womp womp." And that got retweeted by Marco Rubio.
Under the authority granted to him under the Alien Enemies Act. We are quite confident in that, and we are wholly confident that we are going to win this case in court. Peter.
Thank you, Caroline. If you guys can't send 200 Tren de Aragua terrorists at a time to El Salvador, where are you going to send them instead?
It's a very good question.
What?
You'd have to ask the courts and the people on the left who are trying to fight this administration for doing the business that this president sought out to do, which is to deport these foreign terrorists. And we're very grateful to President Bukele and to El Salvador for accepting these heinous monsters where they will face justice.
And
Presumably that was a vetted question, but I feel like they didn't land properly. Like the point of the question was like, if we're not allowed to send these terrorists to El Salvador, what are we supposed to do with them? Let them live in our daughter's bedrooms? And then that was like Carolyn Levitt's prompt to say what she said, but he kind of undersold the question. I don't really know.
if these guys are terrorists at war with the United States, is President Trump considering anything more lethal to address them?
Yeah, I think these were setup questions.
Just sticking them on a plane somewhere else.
Well, it sounded like you had a little bit of curiosity in the premise of your
I know you're wondering, like, are we gonna shoot them? Are we gonna have public death penalty and public executions? And you little scamp, you.
question, so I want to address it. These are designated foreign terrorists. The president signed a proclamation on February 20th, 2025, designating TDA as a foreign terrorist organization that was in consultation with the Attorney General and the Secretary of Treasury. That was pursuant to 8 U.S. Code 1189. The president has the right to do that, and I think nobody would argue that Tren de Aragua should be designated a foreign terrorist organization. If you want to have that argument, I'm happy to do it. These are heinous monsters.
Did she mean to say nobody would argue against that?
Rapists, murderers, kidnappers, sexual assaulters, predators who have no right to be in this country, and they must.
If only these things were proven in court. Well, they were for some of them. I mean, some of those people were members of Tren de Aragua. It's just that, you know, that's what happens when you suspend due process. You kind of lose the ability to, you know, verify or legitimize these claims long term.
Must be held accountable.
That's the point.
And something different. There is now
Three
a member
questions.
of the European Parliament from France who does not think the U.S. represents the values of the Statue of Liberty anymore. They want the Statue of Liberty back.
Yeah, this guy 100% had his questions vetted and approved. He's literally sitting front and center, and he's been given 3 questions in a row. Like, I think they should just give him the entire. Why have anyone else in the room? You know.
So is President Trump going to send the Statue of Liberty back?
Like what? Let's see. This is. I'm in North Korea now, man. I feel like I could genuinely be like a Chinese citizen and see Chinese Communist Party members get subjected to a little bit more scrutiny than this. I'm not kidding when I say that.
To France.
Absolutely not. And my advice to that unnamed low-level French politician would be to remind them that it's only because of the United States of America that the French are not speaking German right now. So they should be very grateful to our great country. Kelly.
It's kind of contradictory to the, you're going to make your, like, 30% of Trump supporters angry because they think the wrong side won the war.